So we just talked about the COUNTIF function. Remember, we only want to count things that meet a criteria. Right? So we looked at the count functions, which will just count things. COUNTIF counts things that meet a criteria. And we took a look at some of these examples here. The next function, which is very similar to this, same idea, but just slightly different concept, is called SUMIF. In this case, I only want to add values in a range of cells that meet a criteria. Okay, so we had COUNTIF, please count things in this range that meet a criteria. This is now add values in a range that meet a criteria. Okay, there are kind of two different ways we could use SUMIF. And if you look at the sample formula here, I'm going to ignore this sum range for a moment. COUNTIF had a range and a criteria as its arguments, and SUMIF can do that also. Equals SUMIF, look at this values in a range, in this range of cells, and only add together values that meet a criteria. Okay. There is an optional third argument that we could give SUMIF, and I'm going to come back to this one in a second. So here is the first example of a function where we could have up to 3 arguments in the SUMIF function. So the name of this function is SUMIF, all one word, and right now there are at least 2 parameters or 2 arguments. The range of cells you want me to look at, and then the criteria, cells in this range that meet this criteria, please add them together. Here's one example of what that could look like. I only want to add values in the range that are larger than 5. So here we go, equals SUMIF. Here's the range of cells. Look at F1 to F7 and only add together the values that meet the criteria greater than 5. Oops. Okay. So here we would look through and say, yep, 8 plus 9, not greater than 5. This is greater than 5, plus 6, not greater than 5, not greater than 5, plus 11, answer is 34. Okay, so we're only going to add together numbers in this range that are greater than 5. Right, so similar concept to COUNTIF. Only count values in this range. If we did equals COUNTIF, same arguments, we'd only count the number of values that are greater than 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. In this case, we don't want to count them, we want to add them together. So add together any of the values in this range that are greater than 5. 8, 9, 6, and 11. Add them together, you get 34. Okay, same concept, using a conditional statement, greater than, less than, equal to, not equal to, those types of things. But in this case, we want to add together. That's all well and good. But this is actually kind of another way that we can use SUMIF, is this other argument. And let me kind of lay this out for you. So maybe I'm the stats guy for the basketball team, and I want to know how many times did the team win by 4 points or more? Right, so how many times did we win by more than 4 points? Okay, so on my spreadsheet, I've kept track of what is the winning point margin. So how many points did we win by? We won by 1 point, we won by 5 points, we won by 7 points. And then how many times over the course of the last season did we actually win by that amount of points? So really what I want to do is, when I find a win margin in this column here that is 4 or more, I want to jump over here and add the number of times we've won by that margin. So here's actually what that third argument did. If we include a second range of cells in the third argument, this is kind of what this sentence now becomes. Equals SUMIF. I want you to look at the cells in this range, F2 to F8. Wherever the cells in this range meet this criteria, I want you to jump in the same row to the second range and add the value over here. So if you include a second range of cells, it won't add the values in the first range, it will add the values in the second range. So this is kind of what I mean. So here's F2 to F8. I want you to look in this range of cells. And when you find a value that is greater than or equal to 4, there it is, I want you to jump to the second range, jump over here, and add this value instead. When you find another value here, jump over here and add it. Keep looking, find another value that's greater than 4, greater than or equal to 4, and then jump to the second range and add these numbers. So really what it would do, it was want to add 6 plus 4 plus 3 plus 11 to get you an answer of 24. So this is how we're going to use this other argument. So we have two ways we can use SUMIF. If we only include two arguments, look in this range and add together any value in this range that meets this criteria. If we use three arguments, we're going to look in this range. When you find values in this range that meet this criteria, jump across to the corresponding cell in that range and add those values. This starts to be really interesting. So I came over here into the cafeteria sales spreadsheet. So maybe I would ask myself this question. Okay. Maybe I'm going to ask myself this question. I'd like to know how much revenue was generated by products that sell for more than $4. How much revenue was generated by products that sell for more than $4 or more? Okay. If I do this manually for a second, I'm just going to color code the cells. So really what I would want to do is I would want to look at all of the prices and pay attention to the ones that are $4 or more. So here's your hamburger. I'm just going to shade this red. And here's the salad. I'm going to shade that red too. Okay. When I find a price that is $4 or more, I want to jump to the revenue column and I want to add these values here. Right? So you found a $4 price, go across to the revenue column and add this number. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Oh, there's another more than $4 item. When you find a value in this range, jump over here and add this. Okay, so that's your SUMIF there. So if I were to play with this, equals SUMIF. The first argument is where is the range that we're going to start looking for items. That's going to be this range here. Equals SUMIF B2 colon B9. Cool. What are we looking for in there? I want things that are greater than or equal to $4. You can just put 4. When I find items in that range that are greater than $4, I want to come over here to the revenue column and add its corresponding revenue value together. There you go. Items that sell for more than $4 generated $6,092 in revenue. And we can, you don't trust me, we can check a calculator on this. Right, so 5540 plus 55250, 609250. There you go. There's your answer. Okay, so there is how the SUMIF function works. Again, equals SUMIF. Look at this range of cells, B2 to B9. When you find any cell in that range that meets this criteria, greater than 4, when you find it, I want you to jump to the second range of cells in that same row, just jump across and add the values over here. That's the SUMIF function. I like this idea of being able to do things based on a condition. The This is going to be really helpful to us later on. We're going to keep doing more of these things, and we're going to see there's some really powerful stuff you can do based on a condition. Okay.